Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. As I mentioned in my last review video, you're not going to see my mug on screen because I woke up with a really puffy face. Anyway, let's jump into this episode recap. So we learn about the West Virginian flood that destroyed Jeremy's grandparents' home so bad that he left work out of state early to help them out. Leah then gives him time with Addie because it had been quite a while since she'd seen him. We also find out that Leah needs another week at her current house because the city's state of emergency and her volunteer work with victims has set her packing behind quite a bit, but the landlord tells her that he's not going to be really flexible with her. In fact, it's actually going to cost her an entire month's worth of rent just to stay 1 week, and that rent is $18.50. Janelle and Co finally make it to Florida and immediately head over to Legoland while we switch over to Chelsea's scene. She and her friend Brittany discuss her pregnancy symptoms and her anxiety about not really feeling much of anything, whether it's morning sickness, a kick, or anything like that. Together, they listened to the baby's heartbeat, which was super exciting how overwhelmed they both were about the whole entire thing. Now, over in Kale's world, she and the kids and Sterling and her other friend Rachel head over to Puerto Rico to get away from the stress of Kale's divorce. She tells Sterling and Sterling's mother that she wants to get the confrontation with Javi over with. Does Sterling's mom look and sound like an older version of Courtney Stodden to anyone else? Anyway, Kale says that she hasn't mentioned too much about the fate of their relationship to the kids because she's still unsure about what's going to happen. Janelle and David discuss her telling her lawyer, Dustin, about how Nathan didn't bring Kaiser to the park and she wants to go back to court over it. And him, being a reasonable adult, told her, listen, just let's keep documenting this stuff. Don't be stupid and run to the court immediately, as the ink hasn't even dried on their freshly printed custody agreement. David, of course, says let him keep slipping up because he's going to lose Kaiser and they'll have the whole family together. I'm doing hardcore air quotes here, you guys, because has he forgotten that son he's not legally allowed to be in contact with? You are not the expert on parenting, David. No one is going to you for advice. And then, as usual, Janelle discusses wanting more time or custody of Jace. Now, Leah seems really anxious about a text she received from Jeremy about house hunting in Ohio with Addie. She can't seem to get a hold of him on the phone, so she calls up her cousin and tells her that she's shocked Jeremy would just up and leave with Addie without warning Leah too much in advance, and that he won't pick up her calls about their whereabouts. You guys, did Leah seem kind of strung out to any of you at all? She was really jittery and odd in this scene. Anywho, she says that she's going to leave Jeremy a text telling him that he needs to communicate with her a lot better, especially in light of the flood that just took over their town. So Kayla's back from her vacation and Joe comes over to drop Isaac off. The boys head outside and Kale tells Joe that Javi's landing late at night and heading to a hotel, and then he'll be able to see the kids and pack his stuff the next day. So Joe then tells her that he wants to talk to Javi about maintaining the boys' relationship, and Kale tries to discourage him from it by saying that Javi is super hot and cold, and then Joe calls her out for trying to cut him out of Isaac's life when she got with Javi. It's so crazy how the tables turn, you guys. Then Joe jokes that he feels like he's inheriting her baby daddy, and Kale says she just sucks at relationships, but of course it's not her fault. And Joe's like, no comment. You could pretend it's bad luck if that's what you want to do. And I love his shady ass. Now, let me tell you guys a little something here. That bathing scene between Nathan and Kaiser was really, really cute between the two of them, but it was too much for TV in my opinion. I personally would be straight up mortified if my parents sold my childhood out that hard. Nathan's juicehead friends come over and they talk about how happy he is to have Kaiser back in his life, and he says that Janelle has actually become really flexible and nice. Maybe because she's happy with David and done chasing him, and then his friends laugh about her obsession with him until one of them literally foreshadows the season by suggesting that she's probably mellowed out because she's pregnant, and then they kind of laugh about it, only it's so freaking true. Now, back in West Virginia, Leah and the girls are still packing for their new house when Leah steps outside to call Jeremy, who still won't pick up the phone, and it's severely stressing her out at this point. Her phone dies, and so she just starts talking to a producer, and mid-convo, Jeremy calls one of the producer's phones and just begins going off on her for pretty much no reason that, we can see as viewers. Jeremy tells her to stop acting like they never communicate and that she's being manipulative for the cameras, and Leah complains that when someone says something that upsets Jeremy, he gets mad. I mean, I'm pretty sure that's how it works for everyone, but hey. Hallelujah, it's the miracle. Kale feels like being nice today as she gathers the boys to create some welcome back signs for Javi. Mid decorating, she tries to break the news to Isaac that Javi is going to be living nearby but not with them. So she'll have to arrange times for, Isaac to visit him because he's Lincoln's dad and not his. Isaac doesn't really understand this, and it gets brought up again at night when the three of them get ready for bed. When Kale tells Isaac again that Lincoln's going to be visiting his dad for a week. And the poor thing just doesn't understand how rocked his world is about to be. Chelsea and Cole wrap up their doctor's appointment where they find out everything's okay and they can officially announce their baby. They return home and share the sonograms with Aubrey. They show her the sonograms for when she was in the womb and her baby pictures as well. Leah's having a full blown meltdown back at home as she's telling producers that, like, listen, it's late, it's like 9 p.m. I don't know where my daughter is. And to think, he divorced me for this kind of thing, running around the trailers in the middle of the nights. I am telling you guys, this girl was on something in this scene. She looked 50 shades of crazy. Anyway, Jeremy tries to call her again and she refuses to pick up because she knows he's still super, riled up from earlier on in the day. We finally get to see Poppy in the flesh as he comes home and heads out for celebratory drinks with his friends at night, then over to his and Kale's marital home the next morning where the boys are ready to greet him with signs. Kale and Javi hug each other like complete strangers as Javi offers to take the boys to camp. Javi is just looking around, trying to adjust to the new decor and dog. Isaac says something about Kale eating all his food, and then when Javi tells Kale that he's got a new truck, her mood literally does a complete 180. He then tells her that he'd like to borrow the car seats for the boys, and Kale says no, maybe an extra one for Lincoln, but not Isaac. Javi asks if she doesn't want him to take the boys out or something, and she's like, I'll drive and you can follow. Then he's like, listen, can I just get in the car with you guys so it's easier? And her rude ass says no. Listen, you guys, this is the same girl who, when she's talking to her friends and other people, she's talking about, oh, I want to be civil. No, there's not a civil bone in your body, petty Betty. Anyway, stunned, Javi asked her why she'd treat him like that his first day back from deployment, and we all unanimously shout it's because she's a heartless witch who's addicted to misery. Now, Janelle and her little makeshift family head out for the day when Barbara calls to ask when they can meet up to exchange Jace, which Janelle flips out over. Barbara says she's paid for Jace's daycare and is not wasting her money so that Jace can hide in bathrooms while Janelle and David have blow-up fights. Okay, she didn't exactly say that, but I could tell she meant it. I really can't stand, by the way, these people just yell in front of their children all the time. It's absolutely ridiculous. So, get this. David, the beater of pregnant women, allegedly, then tells Janelle, the one who treks to deliver children in hospitals that don't drug test, that Barbara should be ashamed of herself for going through the courts in regards to Jace's custody. He then takes it upon himself to ask 7-year-old Jace if he'd rather be in daycare or with them. And Jace, of course, says daycare. The two losers then tried to dissuade him, and Jace says that if he's with them, he'd miss his mommy. And Janelle tries to correct him by saying, oh, you mean Meme? And Jace is like, sure, bitch. Hashtag free Jace. Now we get to see the behind the scenes of Chelsea and Cole's baby announcement in the next scene, which was really cute. Do any of you guys understand her hair though? The top half is always red and curly, while the bottom half is always like brown and straight. I just don't understand. Like, did the girl go to school for hair or makeup? Because she's not very good at either one. Anyhow, they talk about how nervous they are to announce for fear of judgment or miscarriage. And then they actually do wind up posting the announcement on Instagram and are really excited over the positive feedback that they're getting. Back at Miss Miserable's house, she finally decides to be reasonable about the car seats and decides to just go with Javi in his truck, only to talk shit about it because Kale. So Javi tries to ask her how she's doing, and she purposely tries to be really short and bitchy about conversation. And then she switches it over to, his house. Where do you live? Stuff like that. Javi then tells Lincoln that they're gonna have to go shopping for his new room, which makes Isaac say that he wants a Jurassic Park themed room, which then forces Kale to break the news to him that he'll probably be staying in Lincoln's room when he spends time with Javi and not have his own. And then Isaac's like, no, I really want my own room. And he looks really broken up, like that kid who gets picked last in Dodgeball. You guys, that's the fourth episode of the eighth season of Teen Mom 2, and I'm so pumped to hear what you guys thought about everything that went down. Leave your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below, and as usual, we'll chat. You can also like this video, subscribe for more, and feel free to follow me across social media as well, where I do love chatting with you. That's all for now, and thank you so much for watching.